I always wanted to try a UV printer, but until I got the EufyMake E1, I didn't know how much I needed a UV printer. But there's actually one thing you need to know before buying a UV printer, and we're going to talk about that shortly. My name's Jim, and this is The Edge of Tech. Now, UV printers have historically been priced out of reach for most people that don't run a business or couldn't afford a pretty expensive machine. But that all changes with the EufyMake E1. They're calling it the world's first personal textured UV printer. If the Kickstarter is any indication at the time of filming, people have been waiting for a product like this, and they are not shying away from buying it. That Kickstarter is massive right now. Before we talk about the Kickstarter or what this can actually do, let's talk quickly about how it works. It uses UV curing ink to print an image and then cures it at the same time. Think about your color printer at home where you print out like a picture. It's like that, except that ink actually cures itself and it's resin. It's UV cured. It's very strong. That allows it to be printed on almost anything you can think of. The E1 actually takes this to the next level by being able to print an image in layers to make a 3D texture. It like builds it up. And that texture or embossed effects can be up to 5 millimeters in depth. That's pretty thick. And it can totally transform 2D images into something you have to see for yourself in 3D. It's such a cool effect, and it's a game changer in my opinion. The E1 holds 6 ink cartridges in the top of the printer, and they include the CMY, K, and W, which is white, and a gloss as well. So you can do like nice glossy effects on the top of your prints if you want. This allows it to have what they are calling a 1,000,000+ true to life colors. And from my experiences, the prints that are coming off of this UV printer are about almost identical to what I'm seeing on the screen. It's actually pretty crazy. I like to call these blue, pink, yellow, black, and white with a gloss, but CMYK, W, and a gloss. They all go right in the top and they just click right in very easily. Now the printer itself actually isn't that big, but you will need some space in front and behind to fold out your doors and so that the bed can move back and forth like this. It's very much like a bed slinging 3D printer, but just make sure you have a little bit of room, at least as much to where these doors fold out, but it looks like in the front it goes past that. And in the back, it's just about level with that back door. When this plate is not on, this actually folds up. It's very compact and super easy to move. The actual available print size is A3 or about 420 millimeters by 330 millimeters. That's actually a pretty big print area, and it can do a 12 by 16 canvas just fine on this larger build surface that it has. This thing is actually pretty impressive for the size of the printer. And speaking of the print area on the E1, it has a modular system. So you saw me pull this right off. It just has a little latch and it kind of just drops on the slider here on the build area. But you get this large one here, and you also get a smaller one that looks like this. I just put a new mat on this one, so it has like the calibration stuff on it. But you get this smaller one that can be used for, smaller prints and maybe like keychains or magnets or anything that you want to line up that's smaller than the size of your big one. And the really cool thing is you can actually enclose the printer while you're printing on the small one if you want. Now, along with these beds, you can actually get the Rotary as well. This allows you to print on cups and mugs and glasses and things like that. It is actually super easy to use, and it locks right into place, and it looks very much exactly like this. All you have to do is pop down your panels, find where it locks in. In this case, I'll go in from this side and drop it in, pull your latch over, and your Rotary's in place. Now, the super cool thing about this Rotary that makes it a complete game changer is that after you place a cup and lock it in, it auto measures the diameter and the length of the cup and then gives you a canvas in the software or the app that is the size that it thinks that cup is. This then allows you to actually create your art or your design or whatever it is right on that canvas, knowing exactly where it's going to print. Not only will it auto measure the diameter and the length, it actually will auto level the cup as well. So if it's a beveled cup, it'll level it out so it has a nice straight print surface for the UV printer to print on. It is super cool. I've never seen a Rotary that does that before. Usually you have to adjust them, especially like in lasers. But it's just so cool how it works. So if you're into custom cups, you no longer have to print like DTF stickers and that kind of thing. You can actually just print straight on the cup and just you're done after it prints. You don't have to waste as much material. You don't have to laminate, run it through the powders for the DTF printing. It literally UV prints straight on the cup and it's over. But if you like doing DTF or direct to film stickers, the E1 has you covered for that too. Using the laminating machine that you can get right here, you can actually custom design and print your stickers on the E1 and then run them through this laminating machine to finish them right at home. The only thing that could make this part a little better is if it would actually cut out the stickers for you too at the end. But I think most of us has scissors at home and you can actually cut them out while your next batch is printing. But it's super easy to do and it's very cool when you pull your first batch of stickers right off the bed. The E1 actually uses a snapshot camera and dual lasers to help you get everything lined up. It makes printing super easy. You just drop your cup in the Rotary or your material on that flatbed, click the button in the software and it does its magic. When it's done, you'll see what you're printing on in the software and you can drop your art right on that thing and then get printing. In the software, once you drop your art on that object, you just choose the print settings you want and send it to the printer. When it's ready, the printer dings, you hit the button on the top and it begins the job. It is really that simple to use. Now, speaking of the software and the app, they have both Windows and Mac versions available. You can start prints right from your phone if you want, or if you'd prefer to sit down at a computer and design, you can start it from there too. Both have a ton of different features, and EufyMake has been updating them along the way as we've been using these machines very regularly. So they're trying to make them better and better. You'll find a bunch of really cool projects made by people in the community or EufyMake themselves, and they are really pushing the AI-powered workflow as well. That AI can do a ton of cool things as it transforms your pictures into different styles or designs or looks. It can even come up with art just using some prompts that you do. The face swap section actually had me dying in laughter as I turned myself into a king just by swapping my face into a painting that was already there. It was actually quite hilarious. Now, I do have to admit there are some improvements or room for some improvements in the app and the software, but EufyMake is off to a really good start and they promise to make it better and even more robust as the project goes forward. I would say that it's very easy to use and learn. And if you are worried about that part, you probably don't have to be. It doesn't take like rocket science or a PhD to use the software, but it will take a little bit of tinkering and figuring it out. I know they've been making it better. I've seen a couple updates since I've had the machine, so it's great that they're listening and they're adding features, and I think they're going to continue to do that. What I do like about the app is that you can actually monitor and see how far your print is. There's no cameras or anything like that, but you do get a percentage. So if you're doing other things and you're maybe working in the shop or your house or whatever, you can quick glance and say, hey, it's 50%, and you don't have to go worry about looking at it every 5 minutes. Okay, so there are a ton of videos out there, so enough with the specs. Let's take a look at some of the things I've made. I'm only going to show you a portion of them because I've made a ton of stuff, but let's take a look at some of the things I've made with the E1 that have just blown me away. So the first thing I made was this Statue of Liberty magnet. It was a project that was on the app when I set up the machine, and at that point, I didn't realize how cool this machine would actually be until this first print was done. It came out so good, and immediately I knew I was going to be hooked into UV printing. The depth of the Statue of Liberty, I can actually feel it here, is so cool to see in person and not have UV printed before. I didn't know what to expect as far as the quality, but the quality was so good. Next, I loaded up a couple more magnets, the ceramic magnets that came with the machine, this time throwing my own images on there, trying to figure out how to get them, lined up and that kind of stuff. And I think they came out really good. I did these both from the app on my phone, and there's definitely a learning curve on how to line things up when you're first starting, but both of these came out really good. This is my logo, and I did it with some nice 3D depth, and I'll show that in close-up. And this is a picture I took of my son by a Corvette when we were coming out of a restaurant recently. So both of these came out very good. For magnets, again, I was kind of working on how to align them and everything with my first prints with this machine, but I think for my first prints, not bad at all. At this point, I was itching to do something even larger. I grabbed a 12x16 canvas and I dropped it on that large print bed. And not thinking it through, I just stretched the image in the software and sent it. It came out so good and the colors are absolutely amazing. I know it's very stretched though, but the colors actually blew me away, and it's kind of hard to show from this distance, but I'll make sure I get some closer shots of all the different colors and the detail that came out in the very first canvas I did. This is fan art, and I think it came out so good right on this canvas. It has a really cool canvasy look too. I should have probably just cropped the image and then stretched it to fit like a normal person would do. But you live and learn, and I was super excited. I got too impatient. I sent it. But I love it. It came out so good. Now, learning from my mistake by stretching that picture, I decided I was going to do another canvas. I took a picture that my wife and I took with the guys from the band Shinedown, and it was spot on. I made sure to crop it to fit the canvas, and this thing came out so good. Now, I did use a gloss on the top of it, and you can actually see it kind of shines back at you. In the pictures I took, there was like a white dots kind of shining back at you. That was actually the gloss. But in this case, this picture came out so good. The colors were really good. The image was spot on, and I didn't do white underneath this. I just did color and gloss because it was already a white canvas. So, you know, I can't say anything bad about this at all. I actually had it hanging at my house and I had to go get it to film this. From there, I wanted to continue printing, but I wanted to do a DTF sticker to try that out. But I figured I better go big or go home for my first one. I loaded up a 12x16 sheet and I dropped a logo on there like this, and I sent it straight to the printer. I laminated it with the laminating machine when it was done printing, and it looks very much like this actually. The cool thing about how this works is the lamination sticks to the DTF, or the sticker here. You peel the backing off and that reveals your sticker, and then you can actually stick this to whatever it's going to be, like the door or a window or whatever this would go on, and then you peel, you press it all, get it all nice and smooth and no bubbles, and then you just peel off that lamination and your sticker's there. So it really acts like a transfer paper kind of, if you're familiar with that. But it came out really good. Now, there was some bleeding in this one from the red. I have no idea what caused this. I don't think it's going to be part of the sticker once it transfers because it's down in the white areas. But I am reaching out to them to talk to them and try to find out why that happened. I know it's a pretty large print and it goes from white to black and to red pretty, aggressively here. But there is a little bit like, right in this area too, of red, and it looks like kind of got washed or something like that. So we'll figure out why that's happening, but it came out really, really good, and I honestly don't think that's going to affect it once I place this sticker where it's going. After I was done playing with stickers, it was time for tumblers. I loaded up a tumbler cup and sent my logo to it, actually. It was a learning experience. As you can see from here, it came out really good. The logo came out great. I'm happy with the print. I'm happy with the orientation, the size. I just probably should have printed it this way, going, wrapping around or something like that. Or maybe even two logos, done one on the back and one on the front, because I have some, blank canvas back here per se. But as far as the printing goes, it came out really, really good. You got the Edutech full color logo right on there. Everything looks great. There's whites, blacks, blues, grays. The fading looks good, and you can wash this. Don't throw it in the dishwasher probably, but you can definitely hand wash this, and from what I hear, these are super durable on the cups like this. What it really comes down to on the cups as far as like orientation is your personal preference and probably the image you're going to use. If it's a super narrow image, it's just going to take up like the middle of the cup. I don't know if that's worth it. Maybe if it's a logo for a brand or a full cup image. I've seen some really cool full cup images. But yeah, this one came out super cool. The same goes for this mug that I did for my son. It was actually his birthday this past Sunday on May 4th, and he wanted a train theme party. I know, Star Wars to come soon, but right now he loves trains. I asked ChatGTP to create an image with his name and some steam trains, And this is the result. The image itself came out really cool. It's almost identical to what ChatGPT produced as far as an image goes, but there were some challenges with aligning this mug. It doesn't matter because he loves it, but again, I should have made the image a little bit wider so it like wrapped around into this white area here. You can't print past a handle on a mug like this, but you could definitely go further back, and I just didn't understand that because I was learning how this worked. And I also would really like to see the camera work on stuff like this, because the camera doesn't show up when you scan a mug. It does all of the dimensions, it does everything for you, but it draws like an outline of where you can actually put your art. And without that camera, you don't know that that silver part is around. I just kind of like moved it down knowing that it was there, but apparently I didn't go down far enough because it printed on it, as you'll see probably with the close-ups that I'm showing. I would love to see, like I said, the camera showing the mug. That way you can kind of like prevent misalignments like that, prevent from printing on the areas you don't want to print and stuff like that. Now, I did hear that they were working on that, and I really hope it's in a future update, because that would really help while you're doing the mugs. But honestly, this came out so good. The mug looks great, and Tristan loves this thing. He drank out of it for his whole birthday, and he's been drinking out of it since. After the cups, I wanted to see how a full flatbed of prints would go, so I grabbed 10 of these just ceramic round coasters. I had ChatGPT create me 9 individual, like old car themed coasters, as you'll see in the close-ups, and I just resized and tossed each image right on the coasters inside of that software. I hit print, and I came back when it was done, and that's all I did. The color and the detail of these things came out so good. This was the only one that wasn't a car, because this was actually one of the models that I found in the app that I wanted to do for my son. It's a rocket ship, but every single one of these came out really nice. They got a good sheen to them. So yeah, every single one of these came out really good. It was kind of very artsy, and I love how ChatGPT came up with this. I have zero art ability. Like, I am terrible at designing. I'm terrible with colors. So it's really cool just to say, hey, can you make me this? And if I like the look of it, I print it. So very cool. I was very impressed, and all of these coasters came out great. They were also a hit at my son's birthday party, where most of us were car people, and we used these for the party too. So full print bed worked awesome. All of the things I printed came out really good, especially for my first time UV printing. I may have said 3D printing a couple times in this video because this channel is heavily based on 3D printing. But there's something that needs to be answered because of that. The EufyMake claims that the E1 can print on almost anything, but can it print on 3D prints? This is a Death Racer side panel. You might recognize that from the Death Racers. I was curious if I could print straight on something that was 3D printed, have it come out good, look nice with the layers and stuff like that, but also see if it was durable. So I grabbed a couple of the blanks that I printed, tossed them on the printer, threw some art on them, and let's see how they came out. I would say that the results are pretty clear, that the answer is yes. A UV printer like the E1 right here can print directly onto 3D printed parts. The first panel was an image that I again used ChatGPT to generate, just some gears and some skulls, that kind of thing, super generic, but a kind of a fun, image. And I wanted to check out how it would look on a Death Racer, because you never know what I'm going to bring to the Midwest Rep Rap Festival, or even the Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival, which is like next weekend. It is so cool to see the level of detail in these panels. It came out like great. I couldn't imagine this to come out any better, especially on a 3D printed surface. You can't really see the 3D printed texture in here. I did not use white underneath this because it was a white panel. So I just let it rip. I know a lot of people use white underneath just to make sure everything's even and it looks good, but I didn't. There's 3, it's hard to see. It's really hard to see, but there are 3 bolt holes in the center to screw these onto the side of your Death Racers. It did not fill those. It actually like printed down through them. So you can hardly tell that they're even there until I get them like right in the right light. Just like that. You can see the 3 triangle holes there. So honestly, this thing did a great job to cover it up. It covered up this panel really good, and this panel is ready for action. From there, I stepped it up and I found some Batman fan art to try out. It also didn't disappoint. Now don't get me wrong, I love multicolored 3D printing and I love HueForge side panels. I've seen some amazing HueForge side panels as well. But being able to UV print right on these blank panels really can step up somebody's game, especially like me, on what these things can look like. All I have to do is find a picture, print a panel, throw it on here and print it right on the machine. It looks amazing. You can kind of see there's a little bit of a lift down here. It's raised and a little bit of texture. There's some depth in there and the panel came out so good. Actually, there's some yellow in here and I'll show some close-up of that. I actually thought maybe the printer screwed up and I'm like, there's like bubbles and what's going on here? I actually went back to the actual art and that's what it looks like in the art and it replicated almost perfectly. So the answer is absolutely yes. You can print on 3D printed parts. This one happens to be silver. I used silver because it was going to be a darker panel and I thought why not? But being able to UV print right on 3D prints really is going to step up the game for people out there and all of your creations. Now let me know in the comments how you would use a UV printer with 3D printing. I would love to hear your ideas. This is just really the tip of the iceberg, what something like this can be. It's really showing how we can cross UV and 3D printing together and bring them into something totally unique and fun. I could see my wife using these in her miniatures. I could see gamers using these for terrain and walls and like, you know, paths and stuff like that. Because you could actually print walls. Pretty good sized walls will fit on this and print the texture and the bricks and stuff right on those walls for your games and stuff like that. So very cool opportunity. Let me know in the comments what you would do with that. Now that we've seen some of the things that I've printed on the E1, let's talk about the one thing that you need to know before buying any UV printer, the elephant in the room per se. UV printers are very high maintenance and they're not cheap to run. Historically, UV printing is actually kind of expensive when you look at it compared to other printing. The technology that the E1 brings, along with the portability of this machine, is awesome. But remember that the colors are consumable and it will be more expensive to run than like a 3D printer just to make these panels. EufyMake has done a pretty good job in bundling the 5 colors plus the gloss and a cleaning solution in one package, and that's going to cost you $299 as far as the Kickstarter goes at the time of purchase. If you purchase the inks individually, they're saying it's going to cost $42.99 each. But then you can stock up on the colors you see that you're going to use more. Maybe you need more blues or more yellows or whites or etc. You can just stock up on those without buying the whole kit again. And the big question on this machine, along with any other printer out there, UV printer or inkjet printer, is how much ink is this thing going to use? And that's going to vary pretty greatly depending on what you do at home. If you just do flat images and stickers and cups and that kind of stuff, this is going to go much farther than if you use this for the 3D textures and the reliefs and stuff like that. Because that ink has to build up in that situation. It really has to, build itself up. If you choose 5 millimeters, that's super thick. And it has to layer upon layer upon layer that ink to get there. So you're going to burn through the ink more if you're doing layered and textured things over flat things. So that's something to consider when you're looking at a UV printer of any brand out there. EufyMake has done a great job packaging this thing, but it is consumables, it's gonna cost money to run, and that's something that you need to think about before you purchase a UV printer. Now let's talk about the maintenance. Most UV printers are very high maintenance machines and they require a bunch of cleaning and upkeep and stuff like that. You really have to be careful not to let the heads dry or the ink dry out, and it's kind of a pain. Even going away for a weekend with one of the bigger UV printers and not maintaining it while you're gone can cause you big issues. But the E1 actually has you covered. Their patent jet clean system pretty much does everything for you. The only caveat to that is that you actually have to keep the printer on for that all to work. If you do need to shut the printer off or move it or unplug it for any reason, you just need to press the power button down until it makes a chime. It'll start going into a shutdown mode, and in about 15 minutes later, you'll lose connection to it from the app and the software. That's when you know you can pull the plug, close it up and move it or store it or whatever you need to do. But you don't just want to pull the plug because it won't have time to do that final like deep clean and you're going to run into some issues. So just beware, there is a little bit of maintenance. There's a little bit of manual maintenance too. It's all outlined in the manual, but it's nowhere near as much as you would have to do with a larger UV printer of this type. Take that for what it's worth. These guys really put a lot of time into keeping this thing working and working clean and making this thing print very nice. The cleaning process and the maintenance on this is like a walk in the park compared to other UV printers I've seen out there on the YouTubes. So overall, I would say that I really like the E1. It blew me away with the quality and capability of the first UV printer I've ever used. The ability to create depth in my photos is on another level. It just adds a little bit extra to each of the projects you make to make it stand out. If you're thinking about getting a UV printer, it's a great option to look at, especially if it's your first one because it's super easy to use and really kind of steps you into the world of UV printing. If you're looking to start a side hustle or add to your side hustle that you have going now, this could be the perfect machine to take you to that next level. There's a link in the description that will actually help my channel out if you use it and you purchase one of these, but it doesn't like cost you any more or anything like that. So let me know in the comments if you grabbed one or if you had one, what you would make. Also, please smash that subscribe button if you like what you've seen today. Now, the last thing I want to say about the E1 is that yes, it's actually being released on Kickstarter. So use the normal cautions for that. Normally I would tell you, if you're willing to throw the money away, then back something on Kickstarter because you never know if you're gonna get what you back. It's not a guarantee. Kickstarter does not guarantee anything. The difference in the EufyMake E1 seems to be that they're just using Kickstarter as a marketing tool and already have the product ready to go. As you can see, I mean, we have a final product. We have boxes that are totally ready to go. All the boxes that this came in had full artwork. They look really good. And I think they just have everything ready to go. Everything from the packaging to the looks to the finished product seems to be there, and they're just using Kickstarter for marketing. Personally, with this one, I have little concern that they're actually not gonna deliver to the backers. Like, I really believe that they're gonna. EufyMake used to be AnchorMake, and AnchorMake made a couple of 3D printers, and now they're kind of transitioning into a new brand called EufyMake. So it's a bigger company, and I have no problem saying that they're gonna deliver the Kickstarters. At the time of this filming, right now, there's like $18.2 million almost in backing, over 7,500 backers. It's just a huge Kickstarter. It's gearing up to be one of the biggest backed Kickstarters ever, and we're seeing it right in front of our face with the E1 here. If you've made it this far in the video, you rock. You're one of the amazing people out there that watched the whole one, so thank you so much. If you haven't seen this video right here, you gotta go check that one out next. That's a great one. See ya.